Next up is AC Revelations, which I think should be a lot more forgiving and stealth oriented for this kind of video. I apologize, I didn't make it to Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to see how far I can get in Assassin's Creed Revelations without being spotted. We finally made it to the Ezio trilogy, and I've almost done this for every mainline game in the series at this point. Thank you so much for the support on the series, everybody. We're in the final stretch now. If you haven't seen one of these videos from me before, I start an Assassin's Creed game from the beginning and try to go as far as I possibly can without being spotted. Sometimes I make it a few hours in the games. In total, I made it about 2 hours and 15 minutes into the game, sometimes only a few minutes. It really is a wild card every time. And while I did pretty well in AC3, there's not a whole lot of stealth missions in that game's opening, or really in general, so that wasn't a true challenge. Revelations, on the other hand, definitely going to be a lot harder. More stealth missions right from the beginning, so I hope you're all ready to join me on my next adventure through Revelations, trying to live up to my name and be as stealthy as I possibly can. Our journey begins, like many in the series, with a recap, this time narrated by Subject 16. The modern day in Revelations may not be my favorite, and the new Desmond face will never not be totally jarring to me, but it was pretty neat finally getting to see Subject 16 after being so ominously mentioned throughout the series up until this point. But he's here to provide this Desmond imposter with all the possible exposition he could ever need, explaining that Desmond's mind is broken, and if he doesn't separate himself from Ezio and Altair, all those personalities will smash together. Can you imagine? How are you just gonna tease something so cool like that and never have it happen? Imagine a Desmond mixed together with the personalities of Ezio and Altair. That sounds like a fun time. Desmond then remembers that he killed Lucy in the last game. He's upset for a little bit, but doesn't seem too broken up about it, all things considered, and he heads back into Ezio's memories in order to reach a sync nexus and separate himself from Ezio and Altair. This then leads to one of the coolest openings of a video game ever. This is one of my favorite cinematic trailers of the whole series, and paired with the music and Ezio's narration, it really feels like you're reaching the climax of Ezio's story throughout these 3 games. Such a hype introduction. Can you believe AC Revelations almost never happened? If it weren't for the Lost Legacy, the 3DS game being cancelled, this game wouldn't exist. And while part of Lost Legacy's premise became the foundation for Revelations, it still would have been completely different. We would have had the final chapters of Altair and Ezio's story be in a spin-off 3DS game, which would have been incredibly stupid. This game ties up so many loose ends and provides such a satisfying conclusion, it would have been so jarring going straight from Brotherhood to AC3. Anyways though, Ezio takes on an army of Templars in what is one of the most iconic trailer moments of the series. I still get chills when he sees Altair, but Ezio breaks out of the noose and that's where the game begins. Again, bringing us back to Masyaf Castle was such a genius decision, and I absolutely love the atmosphere with the snow in this opening. We do some parkour following the projection of Altair. Having Altair basically be your tutorial guide through this section was another genius decision. I came across my first enemy. I wasn't sure if stealth was actually possible here. I tried going around him, but it seems he'll automatically detect you no matter what, so I just quickly took him out with a sword. Wait a minute though, am I missing something here? Why does Ezio have a sword? His was confiscated from him when he was taken prisoner, and you don't see him with one at the end of the cinematic trailer. All that's here is this halberd, so I don't know where this magical sword came from, because in the very next cutscene, the sword is gone. What is going on here? There's definitely not even a sheath for that sword either. Whatever, I need to let it go. I'm immediately faced with another forced combat encounter where unfortunately stealth is not a possibility. Ezio decides to kill these guys in the most brutal ways possible. Seriously, the combat animations in Revelations are so brutal compared to the previous games. You'd think Ezio would get more tame in his old age, but evidently not. After some more parkour with Altair, Ezio decides to destroy a who knows how old and valuable eagle statue and drops into the water right in front of this guy just trying to enjoy a snack. Once again, I'm forced into immediate combat, so I have to kill the apple eater, and I'm brought to my first stealth opportunity. Alright, only 10 to 15 minutes in at this point, compared to AC3 where it was like a solid 90 minutes before the first real stealth mission where you can actually be detected. I did this very cautiously as I didn't want to get spotted on the first mission and made fun of in the comments, so I picked off each target carefully one by one. It was pretty easy since they were all mining and facing opposite directions. With them dead, I spoke to this miner who told me that the Templar captain has a journal telling them where to find the keys to the library. So now enlightened with this information, I headed out of the castle, where once again I needed to be extremely cautious as there were Templar guards patrolling the area. I tried to go around the side and jump down to avoid them, but there was another guard over here. But some way, somehow, he literally just straight up vanishes. I have no idea what happened. Maybe the game was trying to clear the way for me, I don't know. I then waited for the patrol to walk by and ran for the ladder. This part was even more tricky as this patrol was in a very confined space that I needed to get through. I feel like they designed this part expecting players to engage in combat. They probably didn't anticipate an idiot like me doing a video like this. Also, the AI in this group seemed to be having some trouble. But the second they headed the other direction, I sprinted past and jumped straight off and parachuted. They did see me for a split second, but I got far enough away before they could detect me. Also, has anyone else ever wondered where Ezio keeps these parachutes? Anyways, I was now on the first tailing mission of the game. This one is very easy, there's no marksmans on the buildings or anything, making it easy to follow from above. Although, I did nearly screw up, forgetting tree parkour didn't exist yet, so I just fell right through the tree and almost into the direct line of sight of the group, but luckily they didn't notice me. It's pretty crazy that there are people still living at Masyaf Castle, even though it's been abandoned by the assassins for 300 years at this point. The Templar captain gets aboard a wagon, pushes his minion off for literally no reason, and then the poor guy gets immediately cut down by Ezio. They look like they were just frozen in fear. But that brings us to one of the most annoying sections of the game, where Ezio, doing his best Nathan Drake impression, is hanging onto a rope for dear life while being dragged across the cold, hard ground at blazing speed like it's a slip and slide. How all of his skin hasn't been stripped off, I don't understand, but I managed to barely survive this section and make it to the next part of this Uncharted-like set piece, where you have to take control of a carriage. The game sets it up like you should be ramming the enemy carriages, but really you just have to keep to the left side and avoid all the rubble and you'll be just fine. I remember this part frustrated me so much when I was younger. I remember watching YouTube tutorials on how to get past it. The Templars throw a couple bombs under Ezio's carriage as he gets launched off of a cliff that would probably kill most people, but Ezio is incredibly resilient, especially for his age. And Leandros, the captain, does the classic villain trope of ordering his men to execute Ezio and then leaving, just assuming they'll do it. Even if Ezio is nearly dead, leaving only 3 guys to take him on is incredibly foolish. He even takes 2 of the guards with him who could have helped out as well, but oh well. With another forced combat encounter, I quickly disposed of them and made my way for the nearby village. The game actually starts you with poison darts, which is huge. Poison darts are so overpowered in Brotherhood and Revelations, and I was going to rely on them a lot for this video. They really are the best projectile. They're very quick and precise to aim, they delete enemy detection once they hit, and they make no noise, unlike the hidden gun, making them the perfect stealth companion. It's so strong, and I use my first one on this guard to delete his detection, allowing me to easily run up and assassinate him. Another easy assassination later, and I'm met with what is probably the most difficult stealth mission yet, as I have to follow the path the captain took through the village while killing or avoiding wandering patrols. This first bit was particularly difficult because there were 2 sets of guards in both entryways, and I was still injured, so I couldn't do any parkour whatsoever. That's fine though, a Master Assassin needs to be prepared to adapt to anything. I went into the nearby haystack and waited for one of the guards to walk by and assassinate him. Another guard nearly saw me, but luckily turned away in time. I would normally run right behind these two and double assassinate them, but Ezio's other hidden blade is broken, so I couldn't double assassinate. Literally all the Ezio games start with a broken hidden blade. It's just tradition, I guess. But this meant I was going to have to try and isolate these two so I could pick them off one by one. While trying to formulate a plan, they very conveniently saw the guy I killed earlier and went to investigate, which allowed me to pick them off from the haystack. With them dead, I could now continue through the village. There were another two guards blocking the next area I needed to go through, but you can very easily just run around them by going a different way. Using the minimap, I did my best to avoid the guards on the street, and I blended with a group of people to avoid the oncoming patrol, which provided me with another easy assassination. And some people say social stealth is useless. I shot the other guy with a poison dart, assassinated the guard in the back, and made it to the entrance of the fort with ease. The captain is all like, haha, there's nowhere for you to run. And Ezio hits him with the, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me. Leandros, knowing his imminent demise is at hand, freaks out and runs away, as I'm put into another forced combat encounter. Those guards are easily dealt with, and I finally got some medicine so I can use parkour again. I made my way through the area, mostly avoiding the guards and only killing those in my immediate vicinity. Again, the poison darts made it super easy to deal with any of the marksmen who were spotting me from above, and just like that, I made it to the wall to start climbing. I didn't get spotted here. These marksmen just spawned magically here for this section as they were not there before. Does anyone know if they can actually hit you during this part? I feel like they're scripted to miss for dramatic effect, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't ever remember getting hit by them, and all the other times I've played this game, they have that stormtrooper aim. I make my way up the wall though, as Leandros throws one of his minions at me. Actually not a terrible idea. If he hit Ezio, it could have killed him, but instead all Leandros did was eliminate his only guard, leaving him exposed for an easy kill. We take Niccolo Polo's journal, and that marks the end of sequence 1. So far so good, quite a lot of stealth missions, pretty challenging, but we made it through cleanly and unseen. And just like that, Desmond is pulled back out of the memory, Subject 16 continues to be creepy and condescending, and we immediately head back into Ezio's memories, where he's writing another letter to Claudia. I do kind of wish we got to see characters like Claudia and Leonardo in this game, but at the same time I get why they're not in it. It wouldn't make a ton of sense for them to be involved, but a little more closure for the characters would have been nice, as the last time we see them is in Brotherhood, although both of them did appear in Nexus, the VR game as well, which takes place after Brotherhood, so. But Ezio arrives in Constantinople, very conveniently arriving with two of the most important characters of the game's story, Suleiman and Sophia. But it's here where we meet the real GOAT.
Hoş geldin kardeşim. Unless the legend is a lie, you are the man I long to meet. Renowned master and mentor. Ezio Auditore de la la la. Prego.
Yusuf is such an underrated side character in the scope of the series. Outside of the protagonists, he's one of my favorite assassins. Great performance by the voice actor, he shows us around, gives us all these fancy toys, he's a very loyal assassin, and in the end, he essentially dies for Ezio. What a G Yusuf was. I really like the dynamic as well, with Ezio being the old, seasoned mentor, and Yusuf the young, charismatic, eager master assassin, kind of like a younger Ezio. Me and my newfound best friend take a stroll through the city, where we're almost immediately ambushed by Templars. This guy has about the worst aim I've ever seen. He's like those marksmen from earlier. Where do they find these guys? Yusuf hits just about the cleanest sword throw of all time. He's more accurate throwing a sword than this guy is shooting a rifle. And just like that, I'm put into another combat scenario. Yusuf and I make light work of them, and the Ottoman guards chase down the rest. Yusuf introduces me to the other assassins. I gotta say, I like the distinct visual variety of the Ottoman assassin robes. They've each got unique colors, and while I am partial to the classic red and white, I think the vibrant colors make this Brotherhood feel distinct. Some of them also wear these cool masks. I don't know how they see out of them, but I wish I could wear one. Anyways though, Yusuf tells me to go buy some new armor and then hooks us up with a hook blade. You see what I did there? I'm clever. Yusuf teaches me the art of using the hook blade in parkour, and I gotta say, it's got me hooked. Okay, I promise I'll stop now. In all seriousness though, I always thought the hook blade was a neat little addition, and I like how they gave different brotherhoods across the world their own unique tools and weapons. Like I said with the robes, it makes them all feel more distinct based on where they're located. Maybe if we ever got a game with Bazum and Hytham in Constantinople, since we know they were there, we'd see the hook blade return. Probably won't happen, but you never know. Yusuf teaches me the hook and run, and then we race to the top of this tower, where I'm met with a beautiful view. Constantinople may not be the most visually impressive open world of the series, but it certainly has its moments. When we reach ground level, an assassin informs us that 2 different assassin dens are under Templar attack, so we rush over there, and Yusuf uses the opportunity to teach me about ziplines and zipline assassinations. I love how Ezio has to use the hook blade to use these ziplines, but they just got lazy over time, and now characters just use them with their bare hands, like it wouldn't give them the worst rope burn imaginable. Yusuf baits a guard into the perfect position for me to zipline assassinate him. These are so satisfying to pull off, and from there we split up to defend the 2 separate dens under attack. And how do we defend the den? Through the tower defense minigame. A lot of people despise tower defense. I really don't mind it as much. This tutorial part is the only time where the game forces you to do it in the main story. The rest is optional, so it's not like you have to do tons of it if you don't want to, which is nice. I just find it kind of funny that the Templars decided to invade this assassin den slowly in waves through a single street. Anyways, after slaughtering countless waves of Templars, the defense is successful, and I take a ferry to meet back up with Yusuf, who's engaged in combat. There's been a lot of little forced combat missions in this game so far, but it's like that for almost every game in the series. Come to think of it, in doing these videos for all these games, I believe they've all had forced combat missions of some kind. So it's impossible to truly go through any of these games completely stealthily. Yusuf informs me that the Bazaar Den had been captured by the Templars. I remember when I first played this game, I thought Yusuf was a little suspicious. I thought there would be some kind of late game big plot twist betrayal with him, but nope, he was just a really loyal, friendly assassin. Such a rarity. These games have conditioned me to believe anyone who acts too nice or loyally is gonna end up being a traitor. I really thought something similar would happen with Marcos in Odyssey as well. I actually really wanted that one to happen, that would have been such a fun twist. But Yusuf, again being the homie he is, teaches Ezio how to use the bombs, another way in which the Constantinople Brotherhood seems to be ahead of their time. Bomb crafting in Revelations is great. I'm so sad it was immediately abandoned afterwards. As Yusuf and Ezio talk, there's a line from Yusuf here I really love.
You will have to teach me.
Who is the mentor here, Ezio? I'm beginning to wonder.
It speaks so well to the dynamic of these characters, and shows that even though Ezio is this very old, wise, and experienced assassin mentor at this point, he still has a lot of things he can learn, especially from someone like Yusuf. It's a really cool idea to have the young master assassin teach Ezio all these new tricks, and have it serve as a way to introduce these new features to the player. That's what I really like about the Ezio trilogy. There's a story behind Ezio getting a lot of these new tools or learning new moves. You're not just unlocking a skill in a skill tree and the character can suddenly do it. That goes back to even AC2, where Ezio learned how to crowd blend from Paula, or the climb leap from Rosa. He learns these new things from characters he meets in the story. It's a much more natural and story-driven way of upgrading the character and introducing new skills and mechanics for the player. Anyways though, Yusuf and I plan to take back another one of the captured dens. I hit a zipline assassination and make my way towards the captain. There were a lot of marksmen on the roofs, so I had to deal with a couple of them using the trusty hidden blade and poison dart. And then I used my final poison dart on the captain, so that way I didn't even have to get off the roof and risk being detected. Just like that, the den was reclaimed, and we're yanked back out of the memory to Subject 16 lazing about, trying to plead with Desmond to take him with him when he escapes the Animus. Not gonna lie, I felt really bad for 16 here. Desmond immediately shot down his idea of trying to make it back to his life. I realized you can actually do the hidden blade flicking animation with Desmond, even though he doesn't have one. Man, Desmond really is losing his mind. We're now in sequence 3, as Yusuf asks Ezio to use his elite recruiting skills to bring more assassins to the cause, and replenish the casualties lost in the preceding battles. I made my way to the harbor to get the first recruit, who agreed to join the assassins if I freed him from his prison. To do so, I would need to pickpocket the key off of one of the nearby guards. After spotting the target, I ziplined my way over. He immediately turned around and almost spotted me, so I climbed up the next rooftop, and while my attention was on the target, I was unaware of the other marksman on the roof just below me. He was close to spotting me, so my only option was to go for a throwing knife kill. This would be the most important throw of Ezio's life. This is what he was born for. No chance a renowned mentor like Ezio misses from this range. Come on, Ezio! No, they can't keep getting away with this. Tragedy after tragedy, detection after detection, the Party City War continues with no end in sight. Maybe the younger Ezio can actually throw a knife and have a better chance in Brotherhood. I really regret not refilling my poison darts before this mission. They're so much better than throwing knives. In total, we made it about 90 minutes into Revelations without being spotted. Not bad, not great by my standards either, but considering how stealth-focused Revelations is, it could have been worse. Thank you all for joining me on this journey, everybody. I hope to see you all in the next one as I take on Brotherhood next. If you want to see more of these videos from me, I have an entire playlist for every game from AC3 all the way to Mirage, so check those out if you're interested. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like, and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. And other than that, thanks for watching, and have a great day, Assassins.